Hello, YouTube fans. Here again, wishing everybody a happy Halloween. Why not? So, as it's Halloween and it's a night to be scared, why not? Why not? So, why not? As it's Halloween, why not do some scary stuff of my favourite horror films? Stuff that I thought was scary. So, it's alright. Halloween, talk a bit about my favourite horror films and horror films that had an impact on me. Impacts when I was younger, impacts even today, and a lot of good scary horror impacts. Why not? And as you can hear outside, you got kids trick-or-treating. So, as I said before, have a good one and hopefully have a safe one. So, trick-or-treating, that's some kids going trick-or-treating. Typical, so we're going to get a lot of knocks and a lot of trick-or-treat. Speaking of that, I got a nice bucket. I left it overnight. Lots of ice, lots of cold water. If we do get some trick-or-treaters, I'd be happy to throw a nice bucket of cold, icy water on all them trick-or-treaters. And nice. Anyway, that's not why I'm speaking. So the other movies what left today impact on me would have to be the original, the classic, Halloween. I remember doing a comparison on the Shit Make by Rob Zombie and the classic by John Carpenter. And I always say this in any other movie, the less you know, the more frightening that character is. The fact he kills his sister, you know what the fuck's going on. The fulfillment of his mask, you can get a fucking boring half an hour of a life story with Tabor Tass family. The bits where he pops out, you don't expect it. The first time you see the fulfillment of the mask, you won't know the history. Just go back to me Halloween. We all know about the Michael Mathers mask, Vikram Satnov from Star Trek. And my other scary moment of horror movies would be after Halloween 2. Halloween 2 was brilliant. I think the mask was a lot more scary. The fact that you see his eyes a lot more. He walks more like he's in a fucking trance. The deaths were a lot more brutal. The needle in the eyeball, the boiling water. Everything about that film is scary. The music was a lot cheaper. I loved the opening. The fact it was done on keyboard. There was nerving moments when they had to be. That had to be one of my favourite scary moments of horror movie history. My next favourite one would be Carrie. Carrie's a slow burn. We know it was the first of Stephen King's books. And I always remember the iconic scene with Sissy Spacek, where she dies. It's very sad. The big blood, the first big break for John Travolta. And I always remember the scene where you've got the nightmare scene, which there is a cock up in that film. For people who may not know, there was a cock up in that film. There's a scene where the girl's walking the toss and you've noticed the cars are going backwards. Now I always thought, was it a cock up or was it done on purpose when they did that film? You see where the cars are going backwards. Ever seen Carrie get to that ending and you see what I mean, the cars are actually going backwards and not forwards. But the day I done it scene, she puts the flowers next to the gravestone of the house got graved in, and the hand comes out, gets her by the hand. I remember when I first saw that, I literally jumped out of my fucking skin. It was scary, it was frightening when it wanted to be. That has to be Carrie. My next scary moments, and I remember watching this when I was just a kid, believe it or not, I was underage, I was just a kid, would have to be American Werewolf in London. I remember seeing it when it was very first rented on the golden days of video, and that being American Werewolf in London. I love the effects. That's why I always prefer practical compared to some of the shit they waste money on nowadays. But I do remember the scene where it was the nightmare scene, which had to be the first time they did a nightmare in a nightmare. What do I mean by that? Well, there's a scene where David Tester gets to knock on the door, and the knock on the door gets louder. And he opens the door, you got them weird monster things like German soldiers, they shoot his family up, they even shoot kids up, they don't give a fuck, they shoot the mum up, they shoot the dad, he's steaming, they slit his fucking throat, and then he wakes up. And then you've got the nurse, she opens the blinds, you think it's just a nightmare, but monster thing comes up, grabs her loads of times. And for anyone who's a big fan of American Werewolf in London, there was a double DVD disc where it does actually show behind the scenes, it does show the making of that scene, very funny scenes, got blood all over the face, well, no, fake blood all over the face, all over the mouth, and they're doing the scene. Very good scene to watch if you're into like makings, biographies, all that. Double DVD disc, recommend it, of American Werewolf in London. You can also get the Blu-ray now. So yes, I did one to tie out from the golden days of horror films. My other favourite scary moment would be A Nightmare on Elm Street. I love A Nightmare on Elm Street. I love this cheapy bit with the music, the bit where he's chasing that girl in the boiler room. Even though I knew the actor, right, I knew it was Robert Englund. I remember him from the days of the sci-fi series V, the mini-series. I remember him from the follow-up V, the final battle, even the TV series as Willie. You know, he was this funny character. He couldn't get his words right. He misspelt his words. And I know he was both like a Mork and Mingy sort of character, you know. And that's what I like about him. He was this friendly sort of alien. You know, he was a vegetarian, even though we all know he meant vegetarian. And he was funny, but so I knew that actor. I knew him. I remember him in the golden days of the sci-fi horror movie, Charity of Terror. I remember him in Death Trap. I'm bored and I like the fuck. I remember him in that, which does inspired the character from Kill Bill. And I remember him in loads of films, even before A Nightmare on Elm Street. But when I saw A Nightmare on Elm Street, when I very first saw A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I saw Freddy Krueger, you know, I always remember the scene with Robert Englund. I remember him loads of times. When you first see him with the burnt makeup, the bit where he jumps out the buses, he cuts his fingers off, it's like that evil smile, the arm stretching out, everything about that when he does that first kill is iconic. It's horror at its best. You know, the bit with the phone, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. The tongue sticks out, everything about that to me is so cool, horror. And I love it for that. My other one would have to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've heard of the film for years and years and I never saw it. So when I first got to see it, I thought it was going to be a blood splat film. It's going to be a maniac with a chainsaw trying to ace. He's going to slice and dice, with blood spurting out everywhere, arms and legs. But it's not that type of film. Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Johnny Hooper, the man that gives us prototypes, giving us Funhouse, giving us Life Force and all that. And I think he also worked on some of the TV series of Nightmare on Elm Street, the TV show Freddy's Nightmares, where it was more of stare, it was more the not knowing, don't go into that house sort of film. And when you see Leatherface for the first time, he opens that door, he twats that fucking poor lad with the fucking mallet, the big hammer, he's having like a fit, and he drags him in the door, there's no blood in it, I'm on about. There's no blood in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's what I think makes it a damn good film. It doesn't need blood and gore. The name sounds bloody, but it's not. It's not. And he does that the girl's standing one out. He thinks she's going to get a lucky break. She's not that lucky. He grabs her, drags her back into the house. You don't see it. And I always thought you did, but it doesn't. You just, even on the uncut version, you don't see it. You're supposed to wham her on a meat hook. Not a meat hook, you have meat on, but they're using a butler place when they're doing butler and they're doing food. Your hand's on one of them butt hooks, but you don't see it go through the back. But it's in your head, it does, and you don't. And it's a teffer. It's a damn teffer way John Hooper did that. She's cheating, he pulls the chainsaw out. Again, you think you see, but you don't see it. You get that idea, slicing and dicing the boyfriend up. That to me was such a great effect. And the bit where he's going to kill that poor girl, and he's whacking her on the head, and she gets one lucky break, and she jumps through the window. That's how determined she wants to live. She jumps through a fucking window. Which, when you think about it, that's the only time you see a bit of blood is on that poor girl. Some big chubby guy throws a spanner on his head, he cuts a bit of his leg, he's chasing the dirt, he gets away, she's laughing hysterical, and Leatherface is going to Larry and he's raving a fucking chainsaw about. To me, that is such a damn good, definitely made horror film. definitely made horror film. I can understand why it made so many sequels, why it made a remake. I'm not a lover of the remakes, as you know, but this one, I thought that was a good one. You want to see blood and gore. But the original, the classic, from 1974, to me, that is how you make a horror film. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That is how you make a fucking damn good stare horror film. It really is. And my last but these of my favourite horror films would have to be, without a doubt, and I'm trying to think of it already, it will come to The Exorcist. I love The Exorcist. Again, it took this, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was banned, thanks to our wonderful censorship, Mick Feeman. Thanks he retired in the late 90s. Well, in 1973, we finally had the luxury of seeing The Exorcist. I think The Exorcist by Linda Blair, the first opening, is a definitely done horror film. I loved the bit with the head sniffles around, which I do know was a puppet, as we all know. We all had on this CGI shit. It was a real life puppet. There's a behind the scene, right? You have to see it. There's a behind the scene where that puppet is next to Linda Blair. He's even freaking her out. I love the scene. It's such a frightening scene. The bad language meant for that type of film. It was scary when it wanted to be. It was definitely movie making. I could go on all day about some of my horror films, some of the most scariest moments of horror films. That's just a few. But into them for everyone. Be smart, be safe, and have a happy Halloween. Ha 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 ha.